People say this war has outgrown Soviet weapons. Does that mean Ukraine is truly empty-handed? Its Soviet arsenal has already turned into wreckage, scattered metal, and burnt remains under Russian firepower. Russia's next step: hitting Ukraine's factories before they even deliver replacements. Bridges cut, supply trucks stopped, mobility paralyzed, and worse. Imagine how much ground it would take to bury the sheer number of destroyed armored vehicles, artillery, and tanks, each one silenced by firepower they couldn't withstand. Meanwhile, Zelensky finds himself trapped. NATO, once a lifeline, now looks like a burden as Western support wavers. But numbers paint another story. Let's look closer. With each passing day, Ukraine's war machine, built on the rusting bones of Soviet weaponry and the costly injections of Western aid, is ground down by the precision strikes and tactical superiority of Russia's armed forces. The evidence comes in hard numbers. On August 19th, data released through the Ministry of Defense Russia, charting the destruction. 665 aircraft brought down, 283 helicopters eliminated, and a staggering 78,217 UAVs reduced to wreckage. The devastation on the ground mirrors the skies. 625 anti-air systems, 24,661 tanks and armored combat vehicles, 1,587 multiple rocket launchers, and 28,699 artillery and mortars destroyed beyond use. But these records are more than cold records of loss. They are epitaphs etched in steel and fire, monuments to the collapse of what was once among Europe's largest armies. Each destroyed machine is not only a tactical failure for Kiev, but also a reminder of the empty promises of its Western backers. Together, they reveal the relentless efficiency of Russian operations, systematic, precise, and undefeatable. A pressing question haunts Ukraine. Why has it failed to preserve and manage the enormous Soviet arsenal it once inherited? When the Soviet Union collapsed, Ukraine was left with a vast military-industrial network, factories capable of building tanks like the T-64 from scratch, thousands of armored vehicles including advanced T-80s, fleets of strategic bombers, dense air defense grids, fighters, and heavy artillery. On paper, Ukraine should have been one of Europe's strongest fortresses. Yet instead of safeguarding and upgrading this power, Kiev squandered it for short-term profit. Entire fleets of aircraft and tanks were dismantled or sold abroad. Su-27 fighters ended up in the United States, today a primary supplier of Ukraine's weapons. T-64s were shipped to Congo, T-72s to South Sudan, and the pride of its armored forces, the T-80UD, was exported almost entirely to Pakistan. What should have been a shield became a marketplace. Though Ukraine had sold off much of its Soviet inheritance, when the conflict ignited with Russia, it still fielded what looked like one of the most powerful arsenals in Europe. But appearances masked a deeper truth. The foundations of that strength were already rotting away. The warnings had been ignored for years. Ukraine's own Air Force repeatedly cautioned that its core defenses, Soviet-built systems like the S-300 and Buk, were sliding into dysfunction, starved of upgrades and impossible to keep operational. The breaking point came first in April 2023, when leaked U.S. Defense Department papers exposed secret Pentagon concerns. Those documents spoke of a missile network on the verge of collapse, its magazines nearly empty, and its systems faltering. For NATO, the leak was a political embarrassment. For Moscow, it was validation of what it had long assessed. Ukraine's shield was cracking. In response, Western capitals scrambled to react, dispatching batteries and missiles in a desperate attempt to prop up defenses already stretched to the breaking point. Western aid, much like Ukraine's Soviet inheritance, has failed to shift the balance. The cutting-edge equipment sent with loud promises has ended in wreckage, destroyed under Russian fire. Far from being game changers, many of these systems were poorly suited for the battlefield and quickly became easy prey. Consider the US Max Pro armored vehicle. Promoted as mine-resistant, it instead revealed its vulnerabilities. Russian UAVs tracked them effortlessly, and combat footage shows drone operators calmly locking on and eliminating moving Max Pros one after another. The Max Pro was never meant to be invisible. It carries a Max Force diesel engine with up to 375 horsepower, a 4x4 drivetrain, and ground clearance of 14 inches to withstand mine blasts. Weighing over 15 tons, with variants capable of hauling up to 5 tons of payload, it was designed for convoy protection, not for drone-saturated battlefields like Ukraine. Its size, limited mobility, and outdated defenses turned what should have been a shield into nothing more than a moving target. The M113 armored personnel carrier is another casualty. Near Konstantinovka, one was destroyed by UAV crews of Russia's southern battle group, disrupting Ukrainian troop rotations. In Kupiansk and Kharkov, these outdated machines were picked off just as easily by the Lancet loitering munition, their armor offering little protection. Even the Humvee, symbolic of America's global presence, proved no exception. Around Nikolskoye in Sumy Oblast, one attempted a desperate escape. The driver pushed the vehicle to maximum speed, weaving frantically as comrades fired their rifles skyward in an attempt to fend off the oncoming kamikaze drone. The chase ended the only way it could. The drone closed in, adjusted its path, and delivered the final strike. What had been portrayed as Western lifelines became nothing more than fleeting targets in the crosshairs. For NATO, nothing has been more humiliating than the fate of its prized main battle tanks. The German Leopard 2, hailed as a turning point, instead revealed the weakness of Western armor in real combat. Ukraine received about 80 of them, yet uncensored news Telegram channel confirms nearly half, at least 38, are now scrap metal, destroyed by Vickers missiles from Ka-52 helicopters, Kornet anti-tank fire, or precision drone strikes from Lancets and FPVs. Some Leopards weren't even destroyed, but captured intact, paraded as trophies by Russian forces. The same humiliation struck the American M1 Abrams, now sitting in Moscow on display, a monument to Western overconfidence. What were meant to be the spearheads of Ukraine's counteroffensive have become exhibits of failure. For now, the battlefield leaves no illusions. Neither the remnants of Soviet stockpiles nor Western hardware can shield Ukraine from Russia's accuracy and strategy. Losses mount daily, and each wreck reminds us that real power isn't in machines, but in planning, resilience, and determination, qualities Russia continues to wield. So, that's for today's wrap-up. Thanks for watching.